Let's call the committee of the whole meeting to order. Tuesday, December 12, 2006 at 6:20 p.m. Councilwoman Bell is present, Vice Mayor Losner, Councilman Porter, and Councilwoman Garner. Item 2A is the approval of the November 28, 2006 minutes, moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Bell. Any questions on the minutes? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item 2B is the review of the local mitigation strategy projects, tab 2.
Mr. Mayor and Council, a little bit of background on our local mitigation strategy projects. As a part of, we're part of a program, a National Flood Insurance Program community rating system. And in that rating system, they require us to do certain things to mitigate flooding. And there's several grades that rating classifications that you get. We currently are classified as an 8 in our rating, which results in a 10% discount for those policies issued in special flood hazard areas to the people who get these flood policies. But to recertify this every year, first of all, you have to have a local mitigation strategy, but it also has to be presented in front of our governing body. It's no decision particularly has to be made other than it's presented in front of you and you're aware, and that the citizens are aware that we are working on this. To get better ratings involved doing some of the things that are in the local mitigation strategy. Some are attainable without any help. Most are requiring we put in for grants, and along with other communities in the local mitigation bank there to see if we get any money from that. We ask for that when we go to Washington for our appropriation. That kind of guides us in working on our flooding issues. So basically all this is for our recertification for this program. We have to present it in front of the governing body, and that's what we're doing tonight. So presented. Thank you.
Is there a motion?
Yes,
just present it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Item 2C is Buxton Committed ID Agreement.
This we're going to continue. The Algers attorney had a couple of questions. Chip Rogers is on vacation, so we couldn't get him answered in time. I was trying to move this through, but we'll wait till the next COW on that.
Very good. And item 4 is the FIG property for the new City Hall site and resolution, tab 4.
The FIG properties, we have Mitch Bernstein here. He's coming to the microphone there. We are recommending a settlement here with FIG Capital Inc. and the CAC Medical Centers for the city, which we've already got an order of taking on that property. But there, once you have that, there is still a period of judicial issues that you go through to find out what your final payment will be, unless you get a negotiated agreement beforehand. And Mitch, I'll throw it over to you now.
Sure, thank you. Good evening. The property at issue that's before you this evening is the one of 3 parcels that are going to make up the new City Hall site, and the request of the council this evening is for approval to ask a judge to enter a settlement, a negotiated settlement for the city's acquisition of this property. You may recall that the new City Hall site, being a triangular block and the 200 block of Washington Avenue, that's divided into 2 pieces. It's actually a commercial condominium complex. Units 100 and 200 the city has purchased. However, we need to condemn the leasehold estate that is controlled by Borges Supermarket, and we've worked out a period of extended possession, but we're going to have to deal with the valuation phase or compensation phase of that parcel. The second parcel is units 300 and 400, which is what is before you this evening, and that is owned by a company called FIG, an entity that's controlled by Mike Fernandez. The third piece that we are dealing with is the old satellite farm, which is across the street. That will be for a different time, and we're going to be heading to mediation on that matter soon. But the property before you this evening is units 300 and 400. Unit 300 is a commercial office condominium unit. It's 5,950 square feet. Unit 400 is just a parking lot. There was an improvement upon it, but that was torn down years ago. That's 11,740 square feet. To the extent that you're interested in how we arrived at a settlement figure, I will tell you. I'll go through that briefly, but before I begin, I'd like to say that I believe this represents a very favorable deal for the city, and I would like to think that that's because you have an outstanding city attorney and excellent eminent domain counsel, but that really wouldn't be true. It wouldn't be true because the principal of FIG, Mike Fernandez, has said from day one that he values his relationship with the city. He spoke very highly of your city manager, and from the inception of this litigation, he wanted to sit down and negotiate. He said he was just looking for a fair deal. He again, didn't want to damage his relationship with the city of Homestead, and he's been very cordial and very cooperative throughout. And for that reason, we have avoided what could have been very significant eminent domain and very costly eminent domain litigation. Basically, the deal is that we're going to pay FIG $1.396 million. That's arrived at from the average of two appraisals that were done in August of last year. The average of those two appraisals is $1.055 million. There is $89,400 in trade fixtures, special purpose systems, moving expenses. That is all compensable under the doctrine of eminent domain. On top of that, we had offered a 15% incentive for the property owner to avoid litigation. And 15% is actually very favorable in the field of eminent domain if the government can achieve that, because you avoid substantial risk and expenses for attorneys' fees and experts' fees. That number came to $1.316 million. We met with Mr. Fernandez, and Mr. Fernandez said that our appraisers had overlooked some of the data in terms of the value of the property based upon leases that were in place. There's a tenant, a long-standing tenant, CAC Medical Centers, that was bought out by Humana, and Mr. Fernandez gave us rent roll and additional information. We went back to the appraisers and had them evaluate that information, and they agreed with Mr. Fernandez. They said their conclusions of value were understated because of this new information. The range of the understatement was between $70,000 and $100,000. Mr. Fernandez agreed to take $80,000 in addition to the $1.316 million, and that gives you the total of $1.396 million. There have been virtually no expert fees that have been payable. That could get into six figures easily. There's been very low attorney's fees paid both by the city and by the property owner.
That's good.
And I believe it represents a very favorable deal. Hopefully the other two will go as smoothly. I'm not making any guarantees, though, for them.
I'll move it.
Moved by the Vice Mayor, second by Councilwoman Bell. Now, with the acquisition of these two pieces, we left now with the parking lot, and what else?
Well, this
Does this include the parking lot?
It's interesting that you ask. This is actually a condominium, so the parking lot is a common element.
Okay.
Parcel Unit 300 represents 10% interest in the common elements, which is the parking lot and other areas. Unit 400 represents an undivided 42% interest in the common elements. Unit 100 is 40% of the common elements. Unit 200 is 8% interest in the common elements. So units 300 and 400 are now acquired and will be closed upon judge's entry of a final judgment. Unit 100 and 200, the city owns, but we are going to have to pay a significant amount of money to acquire the leasehold estate. We've made arrangements for Borges Supermarket to stay in place, but they do have, that company does have value in their leasehold estate, and their fixtures are very expensive as well. So we do need to resolve that, but for the time being, they're staying on. They're paying us rent until they have a new place that's built. They're building it out now. And then the satellite farm, we're going to be scheduled for mediation in a couple of months. I don't think we're too far apart on that, so I remain hopeful on that parcel.
Good. You've done well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Very good.
Thank you.
And item 2E is Atkins and Associate Agreement Resolution, tab 5.
So moved, Mayor.
Moved by Councilwoman Garner. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Councilwoman Bell. Any comments on the Atkins and Associates Agreement? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Mayor.
Move on with that.
Mayor, one quick question. Since we're approving kind of a lump sum up to on an as-per-project basis, is it going to come back to us for those projects, or we just get a carte blanche agreement up to $65,000? That's pretty much my understanding.
Well, I would hope that the committee would come back with the priorities and then have us to approve them.
Right, because it's just a kind of a blanket amount. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Bell. 2F, street code designation, Deacon Isaac Key and resolution. Is there a motion for approval?
Move it.
So
Moved by
Second.
Vice Mayor Lawson, second by Councilwoman Bell. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Bell?
Thank you, Mayor. We have purchase of Cisco telephone system for the police station and resolution, tab 6.
Councilwoman Bell, Mayor and Council, this is a request and a recommendation that the PD purchase the Cisco telephone system for the police station. They are replacing their system, upgrading it. This actually goes to be a voice, how you pronounce voice over internet protocol. I do have Lieutenant Bell here to come out and explain or answer any questions that you have. Basically, it's an upgrade of the system. In the event that the system is such, it's really a computer-based system, and so it easily connects with data that we have in our data banks, among a whole other modernizing type of capabilities this brings that we actually don't have with the other system. Plus, it's also transportable. If you move from that building to another area, you can transport that with you. But with that, take it away, Scott.
Turn that timer on. Madam Chairman, members of the council, and the city manager, good evening. Back prior to Hurricane Andrew, we had a PBX-type system like you have here in City Hall installed in the police station. It was damaged during the storm, there were various issues, and it was replaced with the system we have right now. Now what we basically have now is regular old plain telephones, just like you would put in your house. It's all hooked back to Bell South, what we call an Essex system. It's a service by Bell South. We don't have any more services than you can get at your house. We have some call conferencing. We have basically just basic voicemail and limited services, just the same that you would get at your house, or a small business that just had a couple telephones. This system is under the state contract. So any changes, any modifications to it, anything you want to do to it has to go from us to ITS, ITS to the state back to Bell South. Now ITS has done a very good job of coordinating this for us, and they are the central point of it, but there are a tremendous amount of difficulties having anything changed, a phone number changed, or moving it from one location to another, or adding in an office. It's just like trying to put in another telephone at your house. You have to come in and have another jack installed, have the wiring checked. It's just one problem after another. We've been researching this for probably about 2.5 years, and we've looked at a variety of vendors. From our point of view, Cisco is the best choice because they make every piece of networking equipment and this type technology equipment you can name, from the super large ISPs that you use for networking all the way down to the smallest piece of equipment. We went to Cisco first, and we engineered it through them because we were looking at the potential of having to do a bid or other process, and Cisco will not sell to us direct. You have to go to a partner that actually does the programming, the system setup, because it has to hook back to the telephone company. Once we did that, Cisco gave us a list of vendors that they use down in this area and through the state of Florida. We looked at all of them. Bell South is one of them. The equipment is all on state contract, and we can buy it on state contract through Bell South, which is what you have before you. And Bell South is our current provider. While we have talked, I should say, to other telephone companies and come in and made presentations to us, Bell South is always there. Any kind of emergency, any kind of hurricane, one contact with Bell South, and they will get us back in action. They've done so in the past. So what we've done is set this up where Bell South is going to be our primary engineering service with Cisco engineering behind it. We spent about 10 months engineering the system with them, using the services of something like 15 engineers at no charge to us to this point. There's been no cost involved in that. Bell South will do the installation. Bell South will hook us to Bell South phone lines. There is a change. Instead of individual lines, we go to trunk lines, what they call PRI lines, and Bell South will maintain it. It is our one single point of contact. There is no multiple vendors. If there is a problem, we go to Bell South, and Bell South takes it from there.
Thank you, Lieutenant. I'll entertain a motion to... It's
A couple of questions.
been properly moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Council Porter. Yes, Mayor.
Lieutenant Bell, what's the current annual cost for our telephone system in the police department now? If I'm reading this right, is by moving to this system, will there be a reduction in the annual cost for this system?
At this time, yes, sir. Because you have all these little costs for the individual lines, $30 for this line, $40 for this line, it adds up. And when you take out what we will replace with these trunk lines, the actual reduction in cost is about $700, $800. But that gives us a capacity of X amount of phone calls simultaneously, both coming in and coming out for both dispatch and us. We have no reliable way right now of saying that we use, at any given time, 50 phone calls at one time. So what we've done is we've chosen to go with 2. Now this is because our equipment is redundant in this proposal as well. So it gives us 2 separate connections, 2 separate pieces of equipment. So if one fails, we still operate off the other. And our best belief is that 2 will suffice for quite a while. And if it doesn't, we add simply another line.
So we're not adding to the budget, but this is not, this was...
It's not an additional expenditure.
Yeah, there's no additional expenditure as part of the existing budget.
But also want to say that it does come from impact fees, that from the building impact fees.
Originally.
Right, yeah, that's the source of
The system comes from him,
The system itself, yes.
as it should.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes carry. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is that it, Ms. Bell?
Yes, that's
Councilman Porter?
Thank you, Mayor. Tab number, what is it, 7 is the VOCA grant. Mr. Manager?
Councilman Porter, Mayor, Council, it's our recommendation that we accept the grant of $47,100 from the Attorney General's office. The VOCA grant will fund a full-time contractual victim advocate and the laptop that goes with that. The victim advocate assists the victims of crime. There's a fund that victims of crime get paid for, they have to apply for. We'll assist them in that compensation for violent crimes that occur to them. They also will assist with counseling, relocation if necessary, and courtroom assistance if necessary.
Move the recommendation, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by the Mayor, second by Ms. Garner. This is not a new position. This is a continuation of an existing.
And I think it goes to, again, that this has worked well for us and it's worked well for the Attorney General's office. Our people are doing a good job there because they keep getting refunded every year for years now. I forget how many that is now, Ed, but it's 5 years. So it means they're doing a good job and they're getting their bang for their buck in their mind.
Thank you. Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Item B, which is tab 8, which is the Department of Corrections agreement for the inmate help, which I think is one of the most fantastic things that's going in the city.
This is a good deal. Every businessman will like this. Councilman Porter, Mayor and Council, this is a renewal of the corrections agreement with the Department of Corrections and renew the contract that includes one correctional officer who supervises the work squad. We pay for that officer's time and benefits, which is $55,777, but he comes with 5 inmates that work for the PD and doing a variety of activities. We also have them in Parks and Rec that do the cleanup, and it's a real good deal.
Move the request.
Moved by the Mayor. Is there a second? Second by the Vice Mayor. Any other discussion? I just want to say that these guys, they make a huge, huge impact. You get 5 people working for one salary. It's phenomenal what they get done and what we would be strapped with if this program wasn't available.
And they're glad to be here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. And the last item, Mr. Mayor, is item C, which is an SOS contract position. Mr. Manager?
Yes, Councilman Porter, Mayor and Council. This is a little bit of a housekeeping activity here, but as you know, we have current employees at SOS. They're grant funded. What we have here are contracts for the city as consulting type contracts that we renew each year for them. We have Sandy Nanny is one, Kim Elias is another, and Flora Arzuega is another. And Sandy is our grant writer and administrator of the whole SOS program, been with us since the inception. Kim Elias does our victims advocate work, and then Flora Arzuega is a case manager there, and
they all do a fantastic
they
job.
do a great job.
I move the request, Mr.
I second
Chair.
that.
Moved in second. Any other discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Mr. Mayor, that's all we have.
Thank you, Mr. Porter.
Thank you, sir.
Any non-agenda item, Ms. Bell, for the COW?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
None, thank you.
Ms. Garner?
Mr. Shahada, the answer to the brain teaser was the letter E. The letter E. Oh, you missed it. It was the presentation for... That's it.
Mr. Porter?
Just one thing before we go to the presentation. Did we ever find out about the lighting on the 328th Street project as far as, it's a county project, county funded, but where are the lights as far as the Lucy Street project? Does anybody know?
Mike, do you know the lighting on Lucy Street?
320.
Julio's not here tonight. So.
Yeah, but I don't really have an update on that. I get the update for you.
Okay, let's find out fairly quickly, because this thing is progressing rather fast, and you've got FP&L jurisdiction as far as lighting of the lights, and you've got Homestead jurisdiction as far as lighting of the lights, and we want the standard lighting fixture out there, and this thing is progressing, and I'm not sure in my mind what's going to be out there. So before too much
Campbell has been a good example of how it can work and how it can be done.
Exactly, and these are the two major east-west connectors. We're going to have one shot at it. Let's make sure we get it right. I think that's it, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Mr. Manager, anything else?
Nothing.
Mr. Attorney, anything? Well, thank you all very much for coming out for the COW. We are now moving into the workshop on the new City Hall. Mr. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all for coming.